So, also a very warm welcome from our side to this breakout session in the context of the NEXEEDit Summit 2021. My name is Winfried Rockensteiner. I'm responsible for supply chain management and logistics at the Bosch Powertrain Solutions division, which is the biggest Bosch division worldwide with more than 19 billion euros of turnover generated by more than 80,000 associates worldwide and produced in more than 50 production plants, products for in the area of combustion engine and electrification. Today with me I have two charming colleagues supporting me during this journey. To my right, Socher. She's responsible for IT, innovation and processes in the Bosch Powertrain Logistics organization. To my left, Julia Hayer, being responsible as product owner for Intralogistics solutions in the Bosch Connected Industry division. Today we would like to take you on a journey of our Intralogistics 4.0 solutions, and we would like to go back to the time in 2015 when this whole topic of Industry 4.0 really hit the ground, and we within Bosch and Bosch Powertrain Solutions started to think about what does it really mean for us in the area of supply chain management and logistics. And we quickly realized that we have to start with a clear and standardized process redesign, standardizing our process steps, as well as simplifying our processes along the entire supply chain. And we also realized, in order to create business benefit out of these activities, that we have to focus on those areas where we really have the biggest benefit in terms of automation and digitalization. And this was the area of the internal material handling, material flow. We spent at that time more than 25% of our overall logistic cost, which by the way is about 1 billion euro in Powertrain Solutions, on internal material handling in our plants. And this was the starting point when we said this is an area where it really makes sense to look into, to start to optimize, to digitalize and automate. In addition to that, we also realized during that discussion that data transparency as well as collecting data along the entire supply chain is a very valuable asset in the future for us to also implement data analytics and artificial intelligence in order to help us to optimize the processes. And we also realized that along this entire supply chain, we had a lot of inefficiencies with low utilization, for example, of our milk runs in the plants. This was really the starting point for this whole journey. In order to optimize this internal material flow, we took a thorough approach and started to look on the external market, what kind of software solutions are available in order to support this journey. And after a thorough assessment, we quickly realized that the existing solutions at that time were not really fitting to our requirements. And so we looked in the Bosch organization because we were aware that Bosch has started this digital journey, and we realized that we have a division, Bosch Connected Industry, who was exactly working on those topics and was highly interested to also partner up with us and to join us on this journey. And so we started to work together with the colleagues. We created a development partnership with specific focus on automation of our intralogistic processes. When we now move from 2015-16 to 2019, we have already made significant progress during these 3 years. We moved quickly from a proof of concept, together with colleagues from NEXEEDit BCI, to the first pilots. And already at that time, we realized that the savings which we generated even out of these pilot projects already exceeded the investment which we did together with BCI colleagues. So a highly valuable, highly profitable approach which we took at that time, and this really gave us also some confidence to continue and to further improve this approach. And we also were able, with the Agile development approach, to quickly add new features during that journey. So it's not a one event development. We were able to quickly implement and further develop solutions and features in this journey. This was supported by our global Agile team approach on the BCI side as well as in our powertrain solution organization. And Iris Socher will later tell you something about that. So, quick movement from initial savings, first implementation, to a strategic approach and to develop that further. Where are we today in our journey? Bosch Powertrain Solutions is an integral partner with NEXEEDit BCI. We have further developed this partnership, and today, in more than 18 plants, we have already implemented the solutions of Bosch BCI around the globe. And we continue the rollout in further plants and also in other Bosch divisions. And we also see the benefit out of these activities with further cost savings and further improvements in productivity of internal material handling. When we look at 2025, we want to have these digital automated solutions standardized in all plants of Bosch Powertrain Solutions worldwide. We want to further improve the AGV control data, helping us to maneuver and steer the automated guided vehicles in our plants. We need to work on further improvements of our milk run organization in the plants to implement dynamic route solutions. And above and beyond that, we see further possibilities for improving our processes and the solutions on the shop floor. But now I would like to hand over to Iris, and she will tell you a little bit more about how we approach this topic and where we are today in this holistic approach. Iris.
Thank you, Winfried. So Winfried mentioned earlier the Agile global teams that we have. Let me show you what that actually means. So globally, we have dedicated teams working on our innovations, on our solutions, and are focused together closely at the plants, working on development and rollout of our solutions. So we are actually on site with the customer to drive the solution forward. Our Powertrain Solutions digital supply chain strategy, let's have a look at that together. We are focusing on solutions, on digitalization solutions from the supplier to the customer along the whole value chain. So we are working on automated inbound solutions and are implementing solutions such as RFID and camera-based recognition. I will show you a little bit more about that on the next slide. Also, we are working very closely together with BCI, what Winfried already mentioned and what Julia will explain a bit more in detail later on internal transport, supermarket solutions and milk run. Also, we are working on production control softwares so that we can automate the connection between logistics and manufacturing at the production line, and we can avoid Kanban cards. And we are working on digitalization and automatization of logistics planning activities. So let's have a look at digital inbound solutions. We are working here on automated inbound, RFID and camera-based recognition. In this video, we can see one of our pilot projects with regards to camera-based recognition, where we actually have installed cameras at the inbound area in one of our plants at Feuerbach, where cameras take pictures of the labels and then they are connected to a software that does automatically the SAP posting. Within 3 seconds, we can now do the goods received booking in SAP. And the camera, which was really surprising to us, we have achieved a recognition rate of more than 99% already. So other facts and highlights from this year, we are now having 14 plants with automated inbound solutions by the end of this year, which will lead to the first 200,000 euros savings. We have fully automated goods receipt at a plant already with the camera technology. I just mentioned the 3 seconds goods receipt booking. and we have an RFID rollout almost completely accomplished for all our plant-to-plant relations. Targets for 2025 is we will have a productivity increase with the auto goods receipt project from now 200,000 euros by the end of this year to 3.2 million euros per year by the end of 2025. Production control. Here we have three different modules, which are planning, shop floor board, and replenishment. Planning and shop floor board are in the rollout phase, and replenishment is in the development phase. We are already working with 10 plants together on the rollout and in the implementation of this software. We have achieved the Bosch IT platform integration this year. We are increasing and have increased successfully the development speed of our production control system with a new fast-track, very agile approach where focused teams work in sprints to deliver the requirements in a very short amount of time. And we have showed and demonstrated the production control system to all our plants worldwide. And now let's have another look at internal transport solutions, which are milk run, supermarket, and AGVs. We are successfully in rollout with our NEXEEDit solutions worldwide, already have achieved 1.1 million euro savings, and are connected to IES, NEXEEDit, and 18 plants. Target for 2025 is to actually reach 7.4 million euro savings per year. Facts and highlights this year. One of our highlights this year is that we actually also have outdoor AGVs now working and connecting plants also outside, so they can actually deliver parts from A to B and are not restricted to only drive inwards. This is we have specific requirements there, but are successfully already having a solution in Aranjuez in one of our plants in Spain. Also, we have worked closely on the NEXEEDit development partnership this year and the AGV Control Center. Julia will demonstrate a bit more details about this in the next slides. And 5 new NEXEEDit plants are connected. And so this will, as I mentioned earlier, lead to 7.4 million euros saving per year. But let's have a closer look from the BCI side at the solutions.
Thank you, Iris. So the solution we developed together with Bosch Powertrain Solutions is part of our NEXEEDit industrial application system. So it's one of our 5 areas of use. And in the area of intralogistics, we provide you multiple solutions to turn your intralogistics into a more intelligent and flexible one. But now I would like to tell you how we started the project together with PS. So when PS first approached us to work together with us, we were happy to develop the first intralogistics solution for Bosch. But how to get started? So first of all, we had to digitalize every physical element we have in the logistics process. And we started with the transport orders. So for some of those orders, that's pretty easy because they are already in other systems, like in SAP and MES, so we only had to develop interfaces. But for others, for example, the transportation of empty dollies, that's more difficult because those processes rely on the go and see principle. That means you have operators on the shop floor that are constantly checking what needs to be done in logistics. And then they just execute the tasks without reporting it to any system. But if you want to use a software to optimize your logistics, then you also need to digitalize those tasks. That was more difficult, but we had to do it to get a good start. And then we started to also digitalize the layout because, of course, we had to tell the system how to get from A to B. So we had to teach all the stations and ways and so on. And as we had this as a basis, we could start with really developing the optimization. And we developed an algorithm to have a better utilization and a better efficient way of transporting material with milk runs. So because now we had all the transport orders with their due dates, we know the available capacities and also the vehicles we have. And based on this, we can calculate a better utilization of each tour and then send this tour directly on the tablet of the operator. And we were also able to reduce the travel times because we know where we have demand at which station. And if we have a station without any demand, we can just skip it. And by this, we can reduce the travel time. So transport management is our system for optimizing the material delivery in the plant. But there's still one thing missing, and that's the stock we have on the shop floor. Because in many plants at Bosch, we know the stock in the warehouse, but as soon as the material leaves the warehouse, it is gone, and no one knows where it really is and how big the stock is. And that's why we also developed stock management in a second step to make this stock transparent on the shop floor. And that's the basis for further use cases and for further optimization. So, for example, if you want to automate processes with AGVs, these two systems are the basis, because transport management knows which material needs to be delivered by an AGV and where to deliver it. And stock management knows which position at the target destination, for example at the machine, is currently empty, so that we can send the AGV only to this position where it really can unload the material. By this, we can guarantee an automated process flow without any interruption. And we also get a better utilization of the AGVs with less downtime. So, to summarize this, what is the basis for successful use of connected intralogistics? First, we need standardized processes. Second, we need lean processes. And then we need to digitalize all the processes. And after that, you can just start. So start with the first use case and then connect step by step more vehicles, more use cases. And this data can be used for further optimization. So what Winfried and Iris already told, the next step is to have a completely dynamic milk run, to also use artificial intelligence, and to have a holistic traffic management. And that's possible if we collect all of this data. So if you want to know how to get started, then just contact us. Thank you.
Yeah, Iris, Julia, thank you very much. And I think we now already have some questions in the chat which we could already answer. Mm-hmm. And there is the first question out of the chat, and this is: how did the powertrain employees on the shop floor in the entire organization react to the new approach, to AGVs coming into the operation area, to see all of a sudden people working in different environments, software? Iris, I think you have a good insight on that.
Yes, so in general, of course, with all those solutions, we are having a change management process, so we are not leaving our plants and our employees doing it by themselves. So we are actually in very close contact with them, and through our change management process, supporting the whole change. But also, of course, there was basically a broad picture of how employees reacted. There were employees who were super hands-on and super excited about it. And they were like, when can we start? Can we do it tomorrow? And then there was also, of course, people who were a bit holding back and not sure if this is going to, for example, eliminate jobs, or what is going to happen, what am I going to do if the AGV is doing everything for me? But thanks to the change management process and thanks to a very early cooperation with the plants, with the employees directly, we were working on the shop floor with the people who are directly concerned, and with also the work councils, we have managed to implement our solutions worldwide.
Yeah, next question. Are there cultural differences in implementing digital projects around the world? As you've seen, we have plants all across the globe, and for sure there is a significant difference in terms of implementation strategy in the different countries. I think both Julia and Iris are well aware of that. When you look, for example, to a country like Brazil, there the enthusiasm of people regarding new solutions is very, very impressive. So they are immediately into it, they like what you do, they're not too much, let's say, critical about that. On the other hand, you have, for example, in Asia, cultures which are much more careful, so cautious in terms of this approach. So you need to convince them in a different way, you need to convince them in a different approach. And I think, Iris, you have also experienced that in your organization, as this is also a global organization.
Yes, so I mean, I think it's basically what you said. In South America, we experienced way more openness, let's say, to directly start, and in Europe and Asia in general, a little bit more holding back to it, because these cultures are very KPI driven. But in general, as you could see already on our world map, we have successfully implemented our digitalization solutions worldwide, and we are further moving forwards. And so this is in general going really, really well. And after having the first success stories, also other plants saw my neighbor plant is doing this and it worked there, so I wanted to. So I think in general this is going very well, and we are profiting from our worldwide organizations, and that we have a good cooperation also between the plants.
Julia, how is BCI actually responding to these different cultural aspects of the implementation? You have a similar approach?
Yeah, we also see this, of course, with our customers. So if we have a project in South America, they're like, okay, let's start. And then you ask them, okay, do you still have some gaps? For example, do we need more digitalization before we start? And they're like, no, everything is fine, so it will work. And then you see the problems later. And in Asia, it's completely the other way around. They first want to know everything to be sure that it works, and then they're constantly checking. And they're also always asking about KPIs. So you really need to make sure that you have enough benefits so that they really want to use the system and are happy to implement it.
But I think it's also great that BCI is now really ready to support this approach on a worldwide level, that you are tailored your solution towards the customer. And I think this is also for external customer a very interesting approach.
Yeah, we have also our rollout team, like Euro Agile global team. So that's basically spread all over the world, that we always have someone from the application team in the country who can directly support, and that we don't have issues with different time zones or things like that.
Great. Julia, probably also a question out of the chat to you. If I, as a customer, want to benefit from the Intralogistics 4.0 approach, which we explained now to the audience, what do I have to do?
Yeah, first you have to contact us, and I think now we have the contact data here in this event. And then always the first step is that we have a call together to evaluate what is the use case, what do you want to have in your plant, where do you see benefits, and then we can make a first check if our systems fit to your needs, and also check what kind of system is the best one, because we have different solutions. And then if we have this rough scope, then normally we do a scoping workshop. We also do that internally in the Bosch plants to really go on site, look at the processes that we see, what do we need to do we have gaps in digitalization before we start, and then if everything of this is clear, then we can start with the implementation.
Great. Now the question is, we talked a lot about logistic, material handling solutions, but for sure, if we really look from a holistic point of view on this topic, we also have to discuss how we connect this to the manufacturing projects, where we also see a lot of digitalization going on. So the question here is, how do we connect the manufacturing logistic approach in our Intralogistics 4.0 strategy? And probably I can start to answer this question. We at Bosch, we have chosen an approach which we call Bosch Manufacturing and Logistic Platform, BMLP. And this is basically the software environment where we bring all those solutions together. This BMLP approach is basically supported and also driven by the BCI colleagues, mean that we, working together with them, we have the guarantee that all these solutions are integrated and that they are able to communicate to each other. For example, with our manufacturing execution systems, which we run in our manufacturing plants, they are closely connected now in this BMLP approach to the material handling applications, and we can then talk to each other, they can talk to each other, they can exchange information, data, and this enables us to digitalize the entire process from the receiving area to the shipping area, and to really create a digital twin out of the activities on the operational environment. This is the ultimate goal of us, to really have a digital twin of all the activities in our plants available. Iris, do you have any additional insight on that regarding the BMLP approach?
I think next steps are basically really to cooperate very closely between logistics and manufacturing to drive this one solution forwards. And I think the insights that you gave are already basically describing what we are currently doing. And we have first pilot projects where we actually, for example, in our plant in Budweis, where we are now trying to really have a first BMLP pilot and have the both solutions connected. And then this is our general approach. Always we start with a pilot, and then we start with the rollout afterwards to other plants. Mm-hmm. So we don't approach every plant at the same time, but first a pilot testing phase, and as soon as this is validated and it works, we go into the rollout.
Are there any comments from your side on that topic, as you are our service provider?
Yeah, I mean, for us, always the use cases are very helpful, because we don't want to develop the software just on what we think is good, but we really want to get the experience from the customer, and that's why it's good to have PS with all their production plants as our partner, so that we can see, okay, what is really the use case? And is this a use case we have just one time in a plant? Maybe then it's not that interesting. But if it's a use case which we see in every plant, then that's the one where we have to start. Mm-hmm. And here we can also see what is important for the connection, where do we need interface, which data do we need to exchange. And I think we need to go further in this direction, and then together I think we can really develop a good solution.
That's great. So we have a good outlook for the future, and great possibilities in that environment. I think that was basically the event which we planned today with the questions. You are still able, as audience, to put your questions into the chat. We will answer them accordingly, and I'd like to say thank you for to listen to us, and we hope that the insight which we gave to you are interesting for you. We strongly believe that this approach, which we have explained today to you, will lead us into a very positive and good future, and that we are able with this approach to really drive the benefits of the digitalization into our plants. So thank you very much.
Thank you.